Hey, good evening, everybody. Hey, tonight we are going to be building a rail tie load. Steps for this involve these craft sticks. There's a video out on YouTube right now for Engineer Hall. Went out and got these craft sticks here. Each one of these gives you about two rail ties once cut down. All my loads, I put 2 rounds of cardboard in there just for filler, because otherwise it takes like 5 or 6 rounds of stuff to do. Here's a load already previously made. 2 things of cardboard and then 2 rows of the ties. Once they're cut, they get dropped into some weathering mix. Like here's an example. This is the weathering mix. This one's a light gray, but I used creosote black and rail tie brown for those. Once they are done soaking, pull them out, dry them out, and now we begin. One of the things I always hated with YouTube is you see somebody build a load and within 2 minutes, bam, you have a perfectly done load. So we're gonna just sit here and start gluing one of these together and see how it's done. There's no camera tricks, no parlor tricks. This is all real time, live as we're doing it. The thing I like to use the most is this tacky glue. This dries clear and matte. So unlike a super glue load, you might see where you have a blob of shiny stuff. If it misses, it gets over top of the load. This doesn't. Get them in here with the glue. And now we will just try and snug all these together. Get them glued in nice and tight. Parts of this are messier than others, which is okay. Each course or layer is somewhere around 63, 64 actual wood pieces here. So I have probably about 130 counted out sitting here just in case I need one. Oops, drop the tie here. This does take a little bit of time, and I can probably put one of these together in about 10 or 15 minutes or so. But here's the messy part nobody ever sees on YouTube or some of the other platforms out there. Already got some spillage over the top here, but like I said, we're not going to worry about that. It's all going to dry flat and matte and you're never going to see it. Keep plenty of paper towels just to keep the mess somewhat to a minimum. And I just put a little bit in. Don't necessarily have to drown this. Do some other loads, but And here's the part where the live stuff goes. It gets messy. So every once in a while, you got to stop and wipe off. One thing you do want to avoid when you're trying to snug up the load is putting too much pressure, because the stuff back here that's glued in, it's not quite set or starting to tack up yet. It will bunch your load up, and then you take you some more time to knock it all down flat again. And if you'll notice, there's no rhyme or reason. Some lean left, some lean right. Doesn't matter. It all gets covered up just so you don't see the cardboard underneath. And you have stuff like that. I just lost a tie, it fell out and hit the floor somewhere. There it is. I try and keep it somewhat to a minimum, but you still have it. The nice thing about the tacky glue also, it gives you time to work. It doesn't instantly set. And it's a little bit forgiving. So unlike if I was doing this with super glue and I made contact with it, it would become part of me for a little bit. The tacky glue is also safe. It's not really toxic. No foul odors or VOCs coming out of it. Oh, see, just like right there. Just rolled a whole bunch of them into. So we'll just try and knock these down here flat again and keep going. Here in the end gets a little bit tricky. Just this end of the load tends to be more messy because I just have to kind of smear some glue in there because I kind of want this as a tight fit, but not too much. Now for my last piece here, I'm just trying to make a separation here between some of these ties, and I'm just going to slide this in and let it kind of friction fit itself in here. Okay, so there's round one. Now we'll just head on to round two here. I could probably do I could probably add a third course of cardboard to this and just do one layer, but I don't want to see the cardboard underneath of it at all. I know some people like to keep their loads that they can pull them out. When I make these, I make them just so they stay in the car that they're with. And I can see why people would edit these down so you're not seeing all this mess. And I mean, this is like kind of watching paint dry, I'm sure, but sometimes you can grab 4 or 5 of these and get them together and drop them and they'll drop right in, but not normally. Main reason for me doing this is I like to do it, and if I can share the knowledge with somebody, great. When I first got into this hobby, anybody that knew how to weather or do any of that, it was like their little secret. Like they would not tell you, no matter what their talents were with it, because then they wouldn't be the cool guy on the block that had, their trains were the only ones that were weathered or had a nice load in them. I've noticed it's changed a little bit over the years, but most of these places you still got to pay somebody, or they want you to pay somebody for the knowledge. So the more we share, better off we are as model railroaders or craftsmen, or I'm sure you could do this with dollhouse making to some effect. You can make these same ties and make you a little garden fence out of it. Or garden bed. some point I'd like to get an overhead camera stand. That way I don't have to worry about where my arms are at or my hands when I'm doing this stuff, because I know I'm blocking half of this out right now. And it's okay, sometimes it gets on the model, you can just wipe that off. This is going to be a permanent fixture in this car. This is, like I said, this is not going to be a removable load whatsoever. The reason I had the other one, the car was just a little bit bigger. I thought it was the same width as the rest of them, and that one just didn't get quite glued in, so it popped out, which was nice because that gave me a chance to show you how the load looked after it was built. Well, the other neat thing about these wood tie loads is, at least the way they handle the craft sticks, each one of these comes out different and unique every time. So not like these plastic loads where they're all just shiny and you got to weather them down. I don't care for those too much. We're just about done here. Alright, so there we have it. So any of the excess I'm just going to smear along the top here, just to, I don't have any dry matted clumps on the end of it. Set that down. I have a couple of these 1, 2, 3 blocks. We'll set these in. And bottom line is, when you're done, when that's done and dry, it will look the exact same as this. So anyway, I hope everybody's enjoyed this. I hope everybody's learned something, and maybe you can try it yourself and build yourself your own load. Until next time.